All right.
Okay, so we have Brittany here, right?
Do you take roll call for?
Can I take roll
We don't do
call?
roll call for committee meetings.
We don't. However, Dan brought up an interesting point this morning when we were chatting. That there are usually people participating in the meeting that are not visible on camera, and that when we speak, we should identify who is
Who they are.
speaking.
Yeah.
So that it's on the recording.
Sure.
Everybody
Steve
all right
Goldie.
with that? Steve's over there, Dan and
Louis Pelletier.
Louis Pelletier is off here in the corner. Of course, Wally, our trusted committee chairperson. Should be good to go.
Okay, the first thing I want to go over is as I said I would, I have written a suggested charter review committee statement of purpose for us to give to the, Brittany, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, all right, very good. Very good. And I'll read what I've written and we can mark it up and do what we like with it too, before we pass it on. I wrote, the Millinocket Town Charter Review Committee has been charged with making suggested revisions, changes, additions, and augmentations to the Millinocket Town Charter for the council's consideration and possible future updates of the charter. And this is kind of my synopsis of the long discussion that we had a couple meetings ago when we had a new person join us and wanted to explain what we were doing. But I'll read that one more time, and I'm not married to this. If we like it as is, perfect. You want to change some or all of it, that's fine too. The Millinocket Town Charter Review Committee, and that's our official name if we do it, has been charged with making suggested revisions, changes, additions, and augmentations to the Millinocket Town Charter for the council's consideration and possible future updates of the charter.
That's very good. I think the only, because we talked about that terminology of what a revision versus an amendment is. I would say just suggested changes and take the other language out.
Okay,
Because if we talk about revisions, which we may not be doing,
okay, yeah,
then that would put us in the category of needing an actual formed charter, what's the word, commission.
okay. yeah,
Commissions deal with revisions.
Sure,
Committees can deal
And
with amendments.
we'll need legal opinion as to whether what we want is a revision or not.
yeah.
Yes,
And that goes beyond the scope of what our group is, so.
Yeah.
Okay, the Millinocket Town Charter Review Committee has been charged with making suggested changes to the Millinocket Town Charter for the council's consideration and possible future updates of the charter.
that's great.
Any,
I'm
Any
maybe
other-
that one.
I'll tell you what, I will,
We had the vote on it.
okay. Is there a motion to accept this as our
So we'll,
Second.
statement of purpose? Moved and seconded, all in favor?
I don't know if I'm voting then.
Yeah, I think you are.
I am, okay.
Or actually, you're not.
I agree.
And Brittany
You
agrees
can't-
too, okay.
you can't,
I can't-
What I will do is,
I like
Steve,
that.
not a vote,
I
member,
will,
ad hoc member.
make that change so it's neat and email it to you.
I can just take that and do that. That's fine.
Okay, all
Either way.
right, I got a couple other things on it there I wanted to.
Sure.
Okay. One point that I wanted to make, and it's strictly procedural here, is I'm not sure that the committee should be coming up with their statement of purpose and giving it to the council. I think the council should be coming up with a statement of purpose and giving it to the committee,
Well, they gave us a charge. We're just interpreting it.
you know?
Can't even say the word charged. You're not charged with anything. You cannot be charged with anything. The council is passive. It's a passive body. They can't request a committee to work on something. This is a citizen committee. So how about something to the
That's
effect
not
of
correct.
our
Yeah, I don't think
goals,
that's
our
correct. I don't
goals
think
and
that's-
objectives as the Millinocket Charter Review Committee. Our goals and objectives, but you cannot be, a committee cannot sort of be charged by the council. That's
was.
right in the charter.
It was-
It's prohibited.
The committee was actually
Created by the
formed by
council.
the chair, Cody McEwen, who made the appointments to this committee. The council makes all committee appointments, all of them. They're all done by the council. They're committees of the council.
Okay, council committees consist solely of council members.
No,
Yes,
We can appoint anyone on
Members
those
of the public.
committees, especially if they apply. People can apply to be on council committees.
well, we're getting like into, okay, that is concerning board of assessment review, those types of things.
Those are boards.
Planning board, those are appointments by the council. That's well detailed.
Both are appointed by the council.
yeah, but Robert's rules allows for committees to be formed by the council, by a board. Same idea, Robert's rules of order.
Every
and
year
that's why
we pass
that's
an
how we
order
operate.
appointing all the councils, all the committees and the members.
Yeah, it's our history. Council controls who's on committees. That's the way it's been done.
It's always been that way.
And under Robert's rules, it's correct, isn't it, Dan?
Uh,
What,
In
getting
the
back to,
council and, yeah, in the charter, yeah, that's, maybe we could add that, meetings shall be held within accordance. Right,
okay, Dan, I understand that you have a problem with the legitimacy of what we're doing. But let me just say this, none of the rest of us agree with that, and we have all,
Well, that's
and we have had
that's
quite
fine.
in-depth discussions about this and where we're going, and came to a point that the rest of us are satisfied with.
And
So I don't want to, I'm sorry, but I don't want to spend the whole meeting again talking about whether we should be doing this. I'd rather we spend the time doing it. We don't have a final
Haven't we had legal?
burden on the town with the decisions that we make. That will be digested and assimilated and worked on by the council, not by us. And those of us who are working on are happy with that, both the councilors and the non-council members. We're pleased with how this is. This has been a long-standing tradition. This is how work has been done in the town for a good long time. And I think we're gonna move forward with it. Louis.
Haven't we had legal weigh-in on that same question for us? And,
We have multiple times.
Could be.
and there's no problem with legals, so,
There's no problem with legal.
so let's just move ahead and get our recommendations, whatever done.
But my point that I was making on whether it comes from the committee or the council, I mean, in a flippant way, you say, well, the council, well, why don't you get together and let us know what you're doing? Or we would like you to get together and here's what we want you to do, you know? See, that's what I'm saying, like, should it come from the committee or from the council? And it's a technical point.
Yeah.
You're gonna take this, they'll amend it or not, or whatever. and
Throw it in the
accept it, you
trash,
know?
but another point is that we're being miles ahead of any past committees that we've ever had in this town as far as transparency. We have the public weigh in and view our meetings. It's never happened in the past. So it's not as if anybody's gonna accuse you of doing some backroom stuff.
Yeah, and if we were doing backroom stuff, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
I-
You know my
I
opinion on
like
that.
the-
You
I
know my
like what
opinion
we're-
on that.
I like what we're doing. Okay. So anyways, that was my question, and that requires no more work other than I got thinking about it, and now I've said it, and I'm moving on to the next point. Okay, as we advertise, the idea of having that just automatically published is a good one. And I was gonna suggest for an agenda, number one will be procedural issues, if there are any. which there always have been, so,
For a while.
whatever, to discuss. And then review beginning where we left off for the second point.
Mhm.
So it can always be the same agenda, but that's pretty much all we're gonna talk about.
Mhm.
Of those things, and it may get into more things and, get a little deeper and if it needs to be advertised and tabled and brought up, then we can do that, but I'm just suggesting that as who is it that does puts it in the paper?
Diana.
Diana, okay, so
Just
you
notify
can,
her.
if you can just give that to Diana
Sure.
as our proposed agenda, she can publish that ongoing, that it's gonna be the second and the fourth Monday of every month.
Mhm.
And then the notification is there and,
She got plenty of notice to put it in the paper as well.
yes, yeah,
Yeah, we've developed a system where the
Yeah.
representative from the newspaper calls each Wednesday. And make sure that they have the updated
Perfect.
schedule for meetings to be put on the meeting calendar.
okay. I am concerned about us might not be working out of the most recent copy of
Mhm.
the,
I would think Legal, the Dean would have the most recent,
what's that?
I would think Dean would have the most updated copy.
Dan, please, Louis, I can't hear you.
I would think Dean would have the most updated copy of the charter where he tracks all our orders that we have as well. That would change it.
Yeah,
I think Diana has the most updated version
Do you?
because every time there's a change, she just fits in the new paper to replace it,
Then should be the one then.
I believe.
that would be interesting.
So,
And the reason I say this is because Pete gave me a Word copy. And my hope was I was just gonna be able to edit it and get out of it quickly, but it's been edited by advanced Word people, which I am not one of those. So I've just said, I've stopped doing it. I just type up the whole thing and put the changes in. If you've seen the most recent one, I'm trying to make it coherent, but I can explain what I've done. And I'll continue doing it in that format so that when we finally get ready to
Mhm.
present it to someone, I'll be able to show,
Yeah.
this is what it was and this is what we're suggesting, just so people will get it. But if there's a better one around, if there's a newer one around, that might not be a bad thing to
Scan and put. the order.
find and to make sure everyone has, because some of the suggestions appear to already have been changed, like his/her to there and things like that, that
Oh, really?
it's been,
Wow.
that some of the real growingly archaic language in there has already been addressed, it looks to me.
okay. I didn't spend much time with that Word document. What I had done was pull the version of it from our website
Sure.
and converted it.
Okay,
And I have not been able to have the time to clean it up.
yeah,
Like we had spoken about a few times. So I haven't spent any time with that document, but I imagine that if I were to set aside the time to clean it up and print that, we could use that as our working document. I could replace what
Mm.
I have and Louis has, and, from our original,
if you can find what you think is the most recent copy and want to call me, I'll come down and we can go over this quickly and just
Catch
see
us
if
up.
it
Catch us
would
up.
need to be discussed.
Sure.
And if it does, we can make copies for everyone for the next meeting and make sure they get them.
Yeah, I'm sure I can get that done this week.
Okay, I'll wait to hear from you. But give me a call on it and I'll come down when you got a minute. I'm retired, so it's
Another point on procedure that while we're at it. Last meeting, we had some stuff that was going to be checked out with MMA or this or that. Would that be the first item of business, like old business would be on an agenda? To catch up that stuff and then move on from there.
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
So I just remember we've given poor Pete here about 3 or 4 chase, things to chase down.
Yeah, and just to right out the gate, I don't have clarification yet on those items.
That's fine, I can accept that.
But, no,
It's just so we don't lose track of it.
that's right,
Sure, no,
exactly,
it's a good,
exactly. So if we need a mechanism to remember them. That's a real good point.
I also don't wanna get into the habit of placing a lot of these items on the manager because he's not actually on the
Exactly.
committee.
Yeah.
It's helpful to have him here, but this is for us to do
Yeah.
as committee members. So we need to assign these tasks to
Contact MMA
Ourselves.
and all this.
do some of that work.
As counselors, we all have the right to get legal opinion from MMA anytime we want.
Sure.
That's why I don't run for office anymore.
Too much work.
But for things like having him get stuff from Diana and whatnot,
Yeah.
that's reasonable.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to get into that habit of.
No, that's right.
No, I agree.
One
Totally
shoveling,
agree.
shoveling everything on to them.
Right.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think that's a great suggestion.
Okay, so that's a good idea.
Picture of it.
Right,
Get your wrenches out.
bring my tool set.
Yeah.
home, See if I can fix it.
Bob to build it.
He's more constructive.
Yes, you can.
Maybe, wood building.
I'm better banging stuff. than bailing. Beat that.
Anywho.
bolt. Beat that bolt. No,
How about that
Okay.
charter,
no.
Okay,
huh?
yeah,
Yeah.
I wrote that here. We can ask Diana for like procedural issues / old business.
Yep, perfect.
Whatever, and I'll try to flag some of that and keep track of it for the meeting, so. Okay,
Accountability.
so if there's nothing else, any other?
No.
Okay, we left off at C209, chairman.
I only put 2 marks on my paper for that, and the word reside should be preside, and he, she should be that.
I actually had a few in it. I'm thinking chairman might be an example of an archaic word. Why not chair?
Yeah, sure.
Why not just call it chair?
Yeah, we
Because
don't
it-
that man, yeah, that's right.
It describes
That man out of it.
it describes the function of the committee and,
I certainly agree with that.
okay. And Louis, what did you,
Oh, the word reside,
okay, where is that?
well, 5th line down at the end,
This copy says preside.
well, once in my copy says reside.
Preside.
Yours says.
That's the
preside?
correct
Says
term.
Yeah,
Mine says reside. yeah.
yes, yeah.
And what did you say the word should be?
Preside.
Preside, use
Oh,
preside.
I see.
The
Did
piece
you get
missing.
yours from the online one?
I got this from the clerk.
Okay.
So you
that's
get the
probably
new one.
best- That's probably the best version there is.
Yeah,
Well, there should
Yeah.
only be one.
I agree.
There shouldn't be an old one and a new one. There has to be only one. That's the job of the clerk is, well, like you say, is when a change is made, like chair instead of chairman, then that page and,
So-
council order,
so hers,
date,
Yeah.
amendment.
her copy should be the one that's on Word on the website and everything, not this one. Is
I think that is the case.
Yeah.
Oh, you think that is the case?
Yes.
Also, well, how did we end up with
Well,
this?
so how we got to the version that Wally was mentioning, the Word document. I took the version that is currently on our website in PDF format. I downloaded it and I converted it to a Word document.
Okay.
So that that is the version that ended
Now,
up in
if that-
Wally's
if that-
hands as a Word
If
document.
that's what that is, how does his version, which is what you're talking about, is on the website, not match ours?
So these copies, I don't know where they came from.
Oh, there we
exactly.
go.
I
Now,
do.
now that
The-
takes care of that.
So when this committee was originally formed, right?
We don't need
going
to
on a
discuss it
year
any further. We don't need any more words about this. We got a bad copy, period.
Yeah, Dick
Clear.
Angotti photocopied a copy that he had in the office is where this came from.
And then I further copied that.
Well,
Yeah.
that's,
To
that's
make
Which
fine.
makes sense. I mean, it's the
For
one
this
that we're all
That
working
explains
on.
a lot.
Right, so,
Okey dokey, we're all set.
so I-
We'll-
now
we'll
this is
fix this.
embarrassing. There is a copy on the website.
Website, yeah, this is what Dan's working off. of.
And we should check with Diana that that is in fact almost updated,
Yeah.
I
Version.
will work through
or
that.
the only version, as Dan said.
Yeah,
I
You know-
will work through that.
You know,
before our
you know
next
what might be a good idea? When Great Northern was doing their ISO program, you could print off a copy of instructions, but it said right on it, only valid until, like, they gave it like a week or 2 weeks, and then it was no longer a valid copy. And the reason that they did that is because hard copies get outdated. They were afraid of this happening to their process. Maybe pulling all the hard copies and just
Trash.
trash them, put them in a box somewhere and put them in the attic would be a good idea, and have everyone work off the website, so that once a change is made there, everyone has the same thing, and get one of those formats that says, if you print it, like, say you want to discuss something at a council meeting, so you print off a copy so you can have it with you. But it says right on it, only valid until March 21st or something like that. And
Working
then after
copy,
that,
basically.
it's no longer any good.
a working digital file.
So that you don't have invalid copies floating around, and so that you don't have, we're not trying to make changes that have already been made.
Yep.
You know?
Well, on that note, I would suggest we don't really go much further until we have an updated copy. Or
That's a
the
good point.
actual,
That's a good
not
point.
a copy, but the actual charter.
Okay. So if you're gonna look into that, like I said, give me a call, and I'll look on the website and see what logic I can figure out from it as far as changes
Sure.
and things that we've made, just to, because it's gonna be embarrassing, if, like, all kinds of things that we have
Working on it,
discussed
so
in
it's
depth
already
on
there.
why we should change it, we're already done, and, you know,
Yeah. Oh, I completely agree.
the smart kids took care of it, you know.
Yes.
Oh, Lord. Well,
Well, that can be yours.
All right, I'll take care of that.
All right.
Thanks for writing that up.
So is
Yeah,
that the
yeah.
decision? We'll adjourn this meeting?
I
and
think that
reconvene
we
with
will. I think that we will.
the Most current copy for
The only
everybody.
copy.
Everything,
The only copy.
everything I
Yeah.
looked at in the next few pages that stood out to me were he, she, chairman kind of things that, you know, we've just making it a point to change. And if that's already been done, then
Motion to adjourn.
We have motion.
Okay, all right,
I already made a motion.
Second.
yes. Move it, how about a move, motion to adjourn?
Well, you're so
Sorry,
efficient, these
second.
meetings go by so fast.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a
Wood
chair
bang.
son of a bitch. that's for sure.
Wood banger.
On that note. Go ahead and,
The chair boy.
There you go.
Were there anybody on the Zoom?
Brittany was on there.
She signed off, yeah.
Goodbye all.